I think the last details video I did on the channel was for Black Ops Cold War, so almost 2 years ago, and I think it's time for a new one. This time of course in the latest AAA juggernaut, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. So obviously with the early access I played and finished the campaign. I'll be honest with you guys, I'm not really that impressed with the campaign. Yes, the visuals and presentation is top notch and some of the missions are really cool, but overall the story, especially compared to Modern Warfare 2019, I didn't like it that much. But that doesn't mean I can't appreciate the small little details that most people wouldn't notice. So in this video I want to highlight some of these details, but I also want to point out some details that are actually missing. So the first detail I always check in new games is if you actually leave footprints behind on certain terrains, you know, like snow or sand or something like that. And although you don't have any visible lags in the campaign, there are actually some places where you do leave visible footprints behind, like in this muddy puddle right here. As you can see, a pretty detailed footprint. I like that, that's the start. Another small detail in this same mission is the sound effect you hear when shooting and instantly vaporizing these chickens. I promise I'm not some sick animal abuser, this is just a sacrifice to discover some cool hidden details. Also, by the way, I forgot to mention some minor spoilers in this video, obviously. Now, my favorite kind of details are animation details. These are animations that you can easily miss or can only see by doing a specific action. For example, in one of the earlier missions in the game called Wet Work, you get introduced to the new swimming mechanics in Modern Warfare 2. Well, I bet most people, including myself, went up to this first target and either stabbed him in the back or killed him by using a throwing knife. But they actually added a cool takedown animation that you can perform from the water. Check it out. I think that's pretty cool. I also looked at this patrol boat. The propeller of this boat moves when they throttle it and it's not moving when it's sitting idle. And also you can take damage when you touch the running propeller. Another thing I noticed is this ship right here with this crane. This is used to fish bikes out of the water because often in Amsterdam people fall in while they are on the bike or the bikes just get thrown in for some reason. And it's funny actually because very recently some video came in my feed about this specific bike fishing job, so that's a nice coincidence. Now back to some more hidden animation details you normally wouldn't see. You can find a very cool one in the mission Borderline. This is where you play as Mexican Special Forces and you jump the border into the US to chase a bad guy. Well, in this mission you go into civilian houses and a couple of times these civilians are acting in a quote-unquote hostile manner, obviously because you are in their freaking house. Well, in order to de-escalate the situation, you have to stick your gun in their face to calm them down, like this.
I'll shoot you in your goddamn face! Drop your goddamn weapon!
But if you choose to shoot this guy in particular, you get a unique animation. Still, most people have probably seen this one, but did you know that if you don't quote-unquote de-escalate the situation and just back up, eventually Alejandro, your teammate, knocks this guy out. I don't think too many people have seen this. Now, in case you didn't know, in this same mission you can find a couple of locked doors. They serve absolutely no purpose at all, but I did find out that if you have a shotgun, you can actually blow off the locks of these wide doors and actually go inside. In this case, there is a bathroom behind this locked door and the toothpaste actually splatters all over the place when you shoot it. Which is interesting because I believe this is pretty much the only place in the campaign where you can find toothpaste. Now you can also shoot open this door, which is not by design I believe, because there is nothing to see here and this towel is floating mid-air. Now I wouldn't call this a hidden room or a secret place by any means, but it did make me want to look for some very obscure and hidden details that I may have overlooked the first time, which brings us to the very start of the game. In the opening mission of the game you play as Ghost and you need to mark a target for a missile strike. You do this from some sort of convenient place where you have a complete overview of the target area. First I noticed that you can actually shoot and kill some specific enemies all the way down there without failing the mission.
Russians doing with Gorbrani.
Supply in Iran. It's an arms deal.
I know, it's weird, I like to break the game every now and again. Anyway, like I said, when checking out this area, Ghost is in some sort of elevated position overlooking the target. So I decided to check if Ghost is actually visible when controlling the missile. So as you can see here, the missile is coming from the opposite direction, and that means that when controlling the missile, Ghost should be right here.
2, 1.
But he's not. However, if I zoom in on this area, change the contrast, decrease the shadows, and upscale the resolution percentage parascaling gamma correction, you will see this hidden message. It says subscribe to TBAG's YouTube channel. I don't know who put it in the game, but that is pretty cool. So subscribe to the channel, guys. Now after this, I was a little bit disappointed, not gonna lie. And it felt like in Modern Warfare 2, they didn't pay as much attention to the level of detail like they did with Modern Warfare 2019. For example, in Modern Warfare 2019, you have this rappel section in one of the final missions of the game where you are almost completely upside down and you have to shoot a couple of enemies that are below you. Now look closely when you reload your pistol. You can actually see the magazine fall down, which I think is really cool. You know, they thought of this little detail for this very short section of the game, and it makes sense, you know, you're upside down, you toss away your magazine and it falls down. But in Modern Warfare 2, that is not the case. You do have similar reload animations when it comes to an empty reload and a tactical reload. As you can see, if you haven't fired all rounds in the magazine, your character actually saves that mag, but if you do completely empty the magazine, you can see it gets tossed away when reloading. So with this knowledge, I went ahead and tested if you can actually see the mag falling down when doing an empty reload while rappelling upside down. And it appears that this is not the case. I know it's a very small thing, but I did notice it, and it's the same empty reload animation from before, so you know that the magazine is getting thrown away. Another missing detail that was actually present in Modern Warfare 2019 is when you shoot the sprinklers on the ceiling. In Modern Warfare 2019, I don't believe in every section, but at least in this part of the game, if you shoot the sprinklers, water actually comes out, and it also gives you this cool water on the screen effect. Again, this is not the case in Modern Warfare 2. At least I didn't find a part of the campaign where it's possible. If you did find it, let me know down below in the comments. And again, obviously it's not a big deal at all, but when I'm recording these types of videos, I like to pay attention to these things. Now, I also wanted to see if the children are non-combatants detail from Modern Warfare 2019 is also in Modern Warfare 2. If you don't remember, in the mission Clean House from Modern Warfare 2019, if you shoot the baby too many times, you actually get sent back to the main menu screen with this message. I wanted to see if this was also the case in Modern Warfare 2. The Amsterdam mission, which is by far the most popular mission of the game as of now, is the only mission in the game, as far as I'm aware, that has a child NPC. It's this little girl right here, so I did what any rational person would do, and I shot her a couple of times.
Means it's time to stop it.
Who, John?
Trying to see if the same kind of detail was present in Modern Warfare 2. But as you can see, after trying it for probably too many times, it's not in the game. So now we know. But since we are in Amsterdam, I have to say I was actually really impressed with the attention to detail in this level. For the people who don't know, I'm Dutch and I have been to this city many times, so I instantly recognize some of the details and locations. For example, behind where you start is the so-called Red Light District, which is a place I visited many times. It's a place to socialize and make new friends and stuff like that. For the people going to Amsterdam, I highly recommend you visit this place. Now, I did notice the lack of bicycles, and quite frankly, there should be way more people here, but at least they did kinda get the license plate right, so that's pretty cool. Also, another thing I noticed, this very secret, obscure detail that only Dutch people will recognize. The infamous floating vehicles from Amsterdam. I can't believe they actually thought of that. Also, none of the NPCs actually speak Dutch, which actually was the case in the Amsterdam mission from Black Ops Cold War.
Hey, Suzanne, kom deze kant op.
Start.
Ja.
Jij en ik.
Laat die fiets
Gewoon nu
zitten,
naar huis.
man.
Jij en ik.
Kijk op.
Even though they speak gibberish here, it is actually Dutch. And I also noticed that every NPC has some sort of Tinder app installed on the phone. You know, just interesting. And as a final complaint, I also did notice that the clocks don't work in this game. For example, in the Amsterdam mission, it is 8 AM, but the clocks are set on the default 10 past 10 position, so it doesn't match at all. Same with your watch, it is always set to 12 o'clock, which is a bummer, but in the multiplayer it will match your local time, as we know. Now let's get back to some actual details. Like in the previous Modern Warfare, you have returning details like seeing the actual number of rounds in your magazine, like here with the P90, or as it's now called, the PDSW-528, which is just a stupid name. In the AC-130 mission, you have access to a laser guided bomb or missile, and the cool thing is, you can actually see the laser which is used to guide the projectile, but it is only visible in infrared, as you can see here. That's pretty cool. Another cool little detail is in the mission Cartel Protection. Around the halfway point of this mission, you are actually fighting the Mexican army, or at least a part that's working for the cartel. One thing I noticed with these characters from the Mexican army is that some of them actually have guns with camouflage that matches their green uniform. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is one of the only points in the campaign where a gun has a camo equipped. A mechanic that was actually added in Modern Warfare 2 is the pistol swap mechanic. We already saw this in the multiplayer beta. If you have a pistol equipped as your secondary, you now have an even faster animation of switching to your sidearm, which I think is really cool. You kind of hold your primary weapon to the side and quickly pull out your pistol with one hand, and after a little while you hold it with two hands again. This works in hipfire as well as when aiming down sight, and I really like this because it makes pistol more viable in Modern Warfare 2 compared to other Call of Duty games, as you can now use them off the hand like this, when hanging from ledges and underwater. They even added this cool underwater trail effect. Also, quick note, I noticed that the underwater reload time is ever so slightly longer. I also noticed another added benefit with this quick switch mechanic. It's not just a cool and faster animation, it also happens automatically when you empty the magazine of your primary weapon. So if you shoot your primary, even when ADSing, and you run out of ammo, you actually don't reload your main weapon. You just quickly swap to your pistol automatically, and you can just keep shooting. And this may really come in handy in the multiplayer, and it's probably one of the coolest additions to the game in my opinion. And I think I'm gonna end it right there, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and with that being said, I see you guys next time.